Hey everyone, welcome back to Epic Film Sleuth. Today, we're diving into The Accountant, an amazing action thriller that delivers intense fight scenes, a compelling story, and a standout performance by Ben Affleck. This movie recap will break down all the high-stakes moments, from its mind-bending financial mysteries to its brutal fight scenes. In The Accountant, Ben Affleck takes role of Christian Wolff, an introverted math genius leading a dangerous double life. By day, he's just an accountant, but by night, he's forced to use his unique skills to survive. Packed with non-stop shocking twists and high-level fight scenes, this action thriller will keep you hooked. So let's get into it. A couple takes their son, Chris, to an institute for children with autism, hoping to get some insight. They explain that because the husband is in the army, they have to move around a lot, and the director offers to let Chris live there while a girl helps him find the missing piece of the puzzle. At present, Chris, an accountant, works with a couple struggling financially and offers to practice shooting on their property. The director of the United States Treasury, King, accuses an analyst, Medina, of lying on a federal job application. He demands she work on a special project for him to keep her job. Chris shows her pictures of a man known as the Accountant and his criminal activities. King wants her to solve the case by the end of the month or lose her job. Chris goes to bed practicing shooting on his client's property. He wakes up to a British woman who advises him to pick up some normal clients. He meets with a robotics prosthetics company who have found out someone is taking money from their profits. They hire Chris to investigate. Chris agrees to take the job and promises to start the next morning. Medina, a diligent accountant, analyzes images of the accountant's face and sends them to the face mapping department. Brax, a dangerous man hired to hold businessmen accountable for money laundering, enters a man's car in Switzerland and holds him to his head. He eventually makes him promise to stop shorting other companies' money. Chris, a diligent accountant, finds Dana asleep in the conference room and introduces herself as Dana, the woman who found the money missing. She assumes they'll work together, but Chris prefers to work alone. During a press conference, Homeland Security calls about a facial recognition request, identifying an audio clip from one of Brax's attacks. They send the audio file over to Medina. At lunch, Dana and Chris discuss their shared struggles in the world of accounting. Chris has identified a leak in the money and a company that doesn't exist. One shareholder interrupts them, asking for results. Brax commands one of the shareholders to inject himself with insulin to make his death look like a suicide, so his wife can collect on his life insurance policy. The next day, Chris is upset that he didn't finish his case. He goes home and has an intense session of beating himself on the shins with his wooden rod while listening to heavy metal music and turning on the strobe lights. He has another flashback of his mom leaving the family, and he breaks the rod over his shin and throws his bottle of medication. The next morning, Chris leaves the house to practice shooting again, having a flashback from his childhood of fighting with his brother Brax and a trainer his dad hired. They are covered in cuts and bruises, and their dad says they haven't had enough. Chris makes the boys get up and keep fighting. Inside the house, two clients are being held hostage by a couple of thugs. When a thug escorts her to the front door, Chris shoots him from the yard. The other thug forces the couple to get in their truck and drive them from their property. Chris shoots at the truck, causing it to stop, and drags the thug from the vehicle. Hey, if you are enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe and press the notification icon so you don't miss future videos from my channel. Enjoy! Chris strangles the man with his belt and demands to know who he is working for. The man says he doesn't know who is in charge, just that he was told to kill Chris and Dana. Chris kills the man and leaves the property, heading for Dana's house. Chris breaks into the apartment and kills the two men and tells Dana to come with him. Brax gets a call that his men have been killed by the accountant. Chris takes Dana to his trailer and tells her to wait outside while he gets ready. She comes inside anyway and sees all of his money and weapons. She questions him about them, but he is unable to give her any direct answers. Medina gets a call from language services about the audio file she sent them. They tell her that the man she's looking for could be a victim of childhood abuse or have some kind of neurological disorder. Medina heads to the IRS offices and works with an employee to try and cross-reference the accountant's aliases with people who have high incomes. Chris takes Dana to a fancy hotel to hide out, and she questions him about his fighting abilities. He tells her that his dad was in the army and made him train to stand up to bullies. He also tells her that he has autism and that it's very hard for him to socialize. As the two share an emotional moment, Chris pulls away, having a revelation about the robotics case. He tells her that someone was funneling money out of the company only to put it back in and make even higher profits. Later, Chris follows Brax down the street, and Brax notices and shoots him. Chris continues following him and ends up in one of the shareholders' hotel rooms where she's been shot dead. Medina works with the employee at the IRS office and is able to figure out the accountant's real name, Chris, and that he works as an accountant at a small firm in a building connected to a bunch of cash businesses that he owns and runs his money through to hide how much he's actually making. Medina calls King with this information and tells him that most of the money that Chris makes is donated to neuroscience organizations. When Chris gets back to the hotel, he finds Dana asleep on the couch. He has a flashback of his father forcing him and his brother to beat up a group of kids who had bullied him at school earlier that day. Chris decides that it's too dangerous to keep Dana involved, and he packs up his things and leaves. King and Medina lead a team of investigators through Chris's house, and they take note of all of his odd living habits. They find that he has a lot of weapons without serial numbers on them and a very high-tech security system. Brax is hired by the owner of the robotics company to set up security cameras in his house in case Chris tries to come after him. King dismisses the other investigators, and he and Medina stay behind in the house to talk. He asks Medina to tell him about the details of her arrest. Medina and King discuss the long journey they have been on to find the accountant and the hardships they have faced. King overheard Chris killing a man and held him at gunpoint, allowing him to leave. He then received a call from a British woman with tips about an illegal deal and decided to stay on the force. King interviewed Chris's cellmate, who was imprisoned for helping criminals with their money. When he was released, the people he used to work for found him, tortured him, and killed him. When one of the guards told Chris about his cellmate's death, he freaked out and escaped prison. He later attended his mother's funeral with his father, but when asked to leave, he had a meltdown and died. Medina asks why King is telling her all of this, and he tells her that he wants Medina to be the one who answers the phone for the British woman after he retires in 7 months. The landline in Chris's house rings, and Medina answers it. The British woman is on the other end of the line, and she gives Medina a tip about the robotics company. Chris sustains several injuries, but manages to kill all of the men. Brax sends toward him and enters the house. While Brax watches the security footage, he recognizes Chris as his brother and orders his men to stand down. Brax goes to Chris, and the company owner takes his place watching the cameras. At first, Brax is furious at Chris for not being able to get a hold of him for over 10 years, and he's upset that Chris went to their mother's funeral. Brax blames Chris for their father's death, and Chris lets Brax hit him to release some of his anger. Chris takes control of the situation and holds Brax at gunpoint until he calms down. The company owner takes his place watching the cameras, and Chris shoots the company owner and promises to meet up with Brax in a week. Another set of parents visit the neuroscience center seeking advice about their son with autism. Justine, the director's daughter, helped Chris with his puzzle when he was a child. The voice the computer emits is the same British woman who works with Chris. Dana returns to her apartment to clean up and receives a delivery. She finds a classic painting, but upon further inspection, she rips off the outer layer to reveal a very expensive painting she recognizes from Chris's trailer. Thank you for watching. If you want to enjoy more recaps like this one, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to like and share the recap of this awesome movie. We'll see you in the next. Take care.